Hi, my name is Clint Francis, and I am a sales and mindset coach. What I'd like to talk to you about today is if you have a job that's just okay, or it's something you're really not interested in that you're selling, for example. Now, you need to do what you need to do. A lot of people say today you must do what you love or don't do it. And I think you have to work your way up to that. Most people are probably afraid if they're not doing what they love to do to actually go do it when they don't have any experience. Maybe they got bills to pay. And I'm not trying to come from a place of fear, but from a place of reality. Some people, it doesn't work for everybody to just drop everything what they're selling or what their job is or their business is and to run to what they truly are passionate about. I think you can stair step your way to that, but maybe you have to work at that job for a while in your mind. Maybe that's where you're at your level of awareness, and you haven't learned that you can go after what you love as long as you're willing to pay the price. And that's really the important thing. You have to pay the price. And that price is learning something new, going through all the fears of fear of success, fear of failure, all the things that come up for most people who go after what they love. So let's just say, for example, you're in a sales job right now that you're selling a product you don't really have that much interest in. And I'll give you a quick story. When I first started in the luxury sales business, I sold jewelry. And kind of like you could say, I was being shown that this was my next job. It was just the next thing for me to do at the time. I'd applied for a sales job that wasn't that great, and I got the job, and they had to do a background check for 1 week. It's going to take to do this background check. And during that week, I was walking by this jewelry store, and it just kind of lit up, like there was something about it. And remember, at the time, I wasn't really interested in jewelry or anything about it, or gemstones or pearls, not at all. But I noticed there was this pay attention to me kind of feeling around this jewelry store. So I went in and I asked them if they were hiring, and they said, yeah, hold on a second. So they got my resume, and then they gave me the card of the district manager of that area and said, call him today and we can book an interview with you. And I said, great. So I went to go meet with this district manager, and the interview flowed very easily. He really told me more of what they could offer me than asking me what I could offer them. So it was really a meant to be type of thing. So I took the job, even though my interest in jewelry wasn't that great. But what I didn't know is that I was going to be learning how to sell to wealthy people expensive items that at the time I could not afford. And I, quite frankly, did not see really any reason to own. But I trusted my instinct that this was the next job for me. So I took it. And I just dove in learning about watches. I sold mainly Rolexes, a little bit of Levion. I also sold jewelry, gemstones, diamonds, semi-precious stones, pearls. So I had to learn all the clasps that they have and what the jewelry was meant for, where it went. So I just went all in, so to speak, to learn how to sell jewelry. And I also had never sold to wealthy people. I was working in a resort hotel that was quite expensive to stay for a night. I think it was $500 or $600, and this is maybe 16, 17 years ago, somewhere back in the maybe 2005, I think it was. So it was a lot of money in my mind, and it was the smallest room that wasn't really that great. It was not that impressive for a luxury hotel, but it was a nice hotel, obviously. And if you got more than a basic room, it was pretty beautiful. And I just went for it because I felt within myself that I was going to learn something of which I did not know what I would learn. And I ended up learning a lot of things. I had this job for a year. And for the first 6 months, I really struggled. I was terrible at sales. I'd sold other things in previous jobs, but this was the first job where I really took it serious. I read sales training books. I read product knowledge on the products I sold, and I really committed myself to doing it. And so when I was doing it, I just had to fail over and over again on many presentations to clients. I couldn't close the deal. I didn't know how to overcome objections. I wasn't that good at presenting. I didn't know how to ask quality, open-ended questions. But I was learning. And the cool thing about it is I had to show up. We were open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 365 days a year. And I would work a combination of morning and evening shifts. And the best thing about the job, there were many great things about that job, even though I couldn't see it at the time, was that I had to show up 5 days a week. Sometimes I worked 6 days a week, but I usually worked 5 days a week, and I had to show up. I couldn't avoid it. And I had to go in there and do something that I was scared to do and I wasn't very good at. And I did it over and over again. And in my career, I'd done thousands of transactions, presentations, sales with people over the years. But in that first thing, the most important thing was I was forcing myself by having a job. It wasn't my own business. I couldn't go off and have fun or ignore what I had to do. I had a responsibility to show up and do my job. And so I encourage people that want to learn sales or even have their own business to sell something for at least a year, where you're forced and then you have to see in real time whether you're good or not good at it. And I encourage people to be patient with themselves and to not give yourself a hard time. And I think the way we learn in school, through the way we learn through memorization and theoretical knowledge, which has its benefit, but by learning that way, usually when we try to learn new things as adults, we're too scared or we make excuses to not do it. So the number one thing I really learned on my first sales job was I had to show up and do it whether I wanted to or not. And I think we can confuse doing what you love to do with not doing what needs to be done. And that's really the key thing here, is that even people who do what they love to do have to do, there's aspects of the job that aren't that glamorous. So they either hire that out to other people when they reach the point where they could hire other people out, or they just do it themselves in the beginning and of course dream of hiring a virtual assistant or an employee to take care of the things that they don't want to do. But the point I really want you to get is showing up and doing it every day. When you feel uncomfortable, I would be sweaty. I had sweaty palms. I'd shake the customer's hands and it was, kind of a weird handshake because I had this perspiration on my hand. But I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and looking bad. And then another thing I did in this job was I sought out people who were doing really great. They would keep a running score of who would sell what every month, and you'd see the same 10 or 20 people in this company always being in the top 10 or 20. And we would have a sales meeting every month and we would all meet and they would give away cash and prizes to the top producers. So I would see there was always the same people winning virtually every time. Not always, but most of the time. They were winning the cash and the prizes. So then I picked one guy that was doing very well and I shadowed with him. I asked him if I could come in. So sometimes I would work an extra day and I would work for free. And I would come in and just hang around for a couple hours and watch this guy do his magic. And he was a former Wall Street guy and he was retired early and he worked part-time and he just showed me. And what did I learn from him? I learned that he would connect emotionally and build rapport with his customers. He would assume the sale and he would have the guts to ask for the sale. And at the time I was so new and I had other sales jobs and not done so well. It was hit and miss. Sometimes I did okay and good even at times, and other times I bombed out, but I'd always blame other people or circumstances because I was young and I just didn't understand how life worked. So I would encourage you, if you're going to start a business or you're interested in selling, and selling is actually the best skill I'd ever learned in business by far, because it also translates into other areas of your life. I'd say sales and negotiations, because negotiations go with sales. If you're selling something where the price is negotiable, which I would also encourage you to do, I've been able to negotiate at every place that I worked in professional sales except one place. They didn't allow me to negotiate. They set a sale price and that was it. I had no flexibility. So selling and negotiating. So to recap here, the best thing to do is to learn. If you have a job if you're selling something you don't really care for, take the opportunity and learn from it. Show up, learn the product, even if you're not that thrilled about it, and learn the basics of selling. And just kind of, as they say, take the curriculum, do what's in front of you to do. And then once you've stabilized yourself, you may be young and this may be your first sales job, or you may be switching careers and going into sales at an older age, but really take it as an opportunity to learn the sales game and be really good at it and go all in. And just sometimes in life, we're put in a situation that we seem to not really want, but where we could learn a great deal. So what did I learn? I learned how to sell. I learned how to sell to wealthy people, which was very intimidating for me initially. And I learned how to sell from a place of integrity and relationship and service. So I would always give the client my time, attention, ask well-crafted, open-ended questions, and then help them get what they want. So anyway, that's a good idea to do if you have a job where you're selling something you're not that thrilled about. If you got some value out of this video, please like and subscribe. And in the description down below, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm always going to be putting videos and valuable information in my tweets on that site. Also, if you want to work with me personally, you can also, in the description below, email me, or you can DM me on Twitter if you're on Twitter. I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much.